She wasn't running from anything. She wasn't being followed. She wasn't in danger. She was just going for a run. Middle of the day, open path, people around. So, how does a normal afternoon turn into one of the most shocking cases in Ireland? Let's slow this down and look at this like a detective. Because this case isn't just emotional, it's disturbing for one reason. Nothing about it should have happened. Let's start with who Ashling Murphy was. 23 years old, primary school teacher from Tullamore County, Offaly. Everyone who knows her said the same thing. Kind, positive, full of life. She loved traditional Irish music, played instruments, taught children, and was deeply involved in her community. Not the kind of person who lived on the edge. Not the kind of person taking risks, which make that what happened even harder to understand. Now, picture the setting. The Grand Canal, a quite open walking path near Tullamore. This is important because this is not some hidden location. This is a public place people pass through all the time. Walkers, runners, families in daylight. So, if you're thinking like a detective, the first question is, why here? And the second question, why her? On that day in January, Ashling went out for a run. A routine moment. Something she had done before. Nothing unusual. Until it was. At some point during that run, witnesses noticed a man in the area. Again, not unusual, it's a public path. But then things changed. People nearby heard distress, a struggle, something clearly wrong. But here is the key detail. It happened fast, too fast. Some witnesses later said they tried to intervene. That's critical because it tells us this wasn't hidden. This wasn't planned in isolation. This happened out in the open. And still, it couldn't be stopped in time. Emergency services were called. The guards arrived quickly. The area was sealed off. And now the investigation begins. So, let's think like investigators. You have a public scene, multiple witnesses, daylight. That means one thing. Someone saw something. The guards begin gathering statements immediately. Who was there? What did they see? What direction did the suspect go? At the same time, they started forensic work, securing the scene, collecting evidence, building a timeline. Now here is where things get complicated. Early in the investigation, a man presented himself at a hospital with injuries. That immediately raised suspicion. But after checking everything carefully, he was ruled out. And this matters because in cases like this, it's easy to jump to conclusions, but the guards had to stay focused, evidence first always. Meanwhile, the pressure was intense. This wasn't just another case. The whole country was watching. People wanted answers fast. So the investigation expanded. CCTV footage was reviewed. Movements were tracked. Witnesses' accounts were cross-checked. Every small detail mattered. And slowly, a clearer picture started to form. Then came the breakthrough. A man named Joseph Pushka come into focus. He had been in the area. His movements matched the timeline, and importantly, he has also presented himself at a hospital with injuries around the time of the incident. Now, from a detective point of view, this is where things start to connect. Location, timing, physical condition. The guards moved in and arrested him. From there, the case became about evidence, forensic results, witnesses' testimony, timeline, reconstruction. Everything has to line up. And eventually it did. The case went to court. Now imagine sitting there, hearing everything laid out step by step. The timeline of that day, the movement, the evidence collected. This is where the question changed. At first it was, what happened? Now it becomes, can it be proven? The prosecution presented their case. The defense responded. Every detail was examined, and after everything was heard, Joseph Puska was found guilty of the murder of Ashling Murphy. He was sentenced to life in prison. Case closed, right? Not exactly. Because solving a case legally doesn't always answer the deeper question: why? Why in daylight? Why in a public place? Why someone like Ashling? And that's what stayed with people, because this case broke a basic assumption that if you're outside in daylight around people, you're safe. Ireland reacted in a way rarely seen. Vigils were held across the country. Thousands gathered, candles lit in the streets. People stood together, not just to mourn, but to process what had happened. Because this wasn't distant. This felt close, too close. Ashlyn becoming more than a victim, she became a symbol of how unpredictable danger can be and how quickly a normal moment can turn into something else. And even now, people still talk about it because the questions don't fully go away. From a detective's perspective, the case was solved, evidence collected, suspect identified, trial completed. But from a human perspective, it still doesn't make sense. She went for a run in daylight, in a place she knew, and still, she didn't make it home. So, we come back to the same question. How can something like this happen in plain daylight? If you want fast updates on Irish true crime, subscribe. We cover everything before it hits mainstream headlines. Thank you.